she just threw me. Please, I have no one else I can turn to. I need help. I worked as a servant in the towers of Teldrelloth. Nathan, the son of Mistress Drelloth, is being kept prisoner there. At least, I think he must be. Nathan and I had plans to leave Teldrelloth together. Someone must have found out, because the day we planned to leave, I was dismissed from my position. Mistress Drelloth, or Sethiel, I suppose, pushed me out without a chance to see Nathan. If she's holding him against his will, he'll be in the isolation tower. The only access is through the lab in the caverns that run underneath. There's a key in the top floor of the main tower. Please, can you help me? I'll pay for your assistance. Thank the 8 you came along. I had no idea how I would do this on my own. I know Sethiel would just throw me out again, but Nathan is my whole world. I can't possibly leave Teldrelloth without him. The first step is finding that key. Certainly. You know, it's been so long since I spoke to another outsider. I didn't think I'd miss it so much. I say this with love, but Nathan's not a fighter. He's lived a sheltered life, and Sethiel is a very skilled mage. But he wouldn't fight his mother anyway. Until he met me, he seemed content with heeding Sethiel's every word. I wish I knew. If she were any other Telvanni master, I guess she didn't want her son settling for some lowborn servant girl. But nothing like that ever seemed to matter to Sethiel. She was far more focused on her research than her rank anyway. From what I understand, she's trying to cure the Nahatan flu. It took the life of her husband many years ago, when Nathan was just a baby. I'm sure that's why she's so protective of her son, but it's no way to let him live. I heard Sethiel used to keep test subjects in the isolation tower. If she's keeping him anywhere, I imagine it has to be there. He spends most of his time on the balcony of the main tower, but he hasn't been out there at all since I left. Would it matter? Nathan deserves to make his own choices, regardless of his mother's wishes. And if she really felt that way, why wouldn't she just make her feelings known instead of throwing me out? I wasn't trying to steal him from her. I used to ask myself that question every day. It all happened so fast. I had a big family in Cropsford. We fled east from Cyrodiil when the Three Banners War began. By the time I made it here, I'd lost everyone. I was on my own. She gave me lodging and fair wages, too. She was kind to me, in her way. I used to think it was out of some goodness of her heart that she took me in. After she dismissed me, I was left wondering if she even has a heart. Very little, actually. It's not what she said, rather... While packing, I found a note in my belongings, signed by Nathan, full of hurtful things. Things I know he would never say to me. I'm certain of it. I know Nathan's handwriting, and more than that, I know his heart. He'd never say such cruel things to me. And the fact that Sethiel made up those lies hurts me even more. There's the main tower. And you can see the isolation tower to the north there. They're not like the towers back home. But they're beautiful in their own way. The key is in that chest. It's a spare for when the researchers misplace theirs. Got it? Let's speak for a moment. All right! We have the key. This is going better than I thought it would. And it's strange. Everything looks so different in here without the wards. It all feels so empty. Nathan's protective wards. You know, Sethiel's magic barriers that kept Nathan's half of the tower in isolation. I couldn't cross them at all. They certainly made tidying up a bit of a trial. I mentioned the wards before, didn't I? Sorry. I guess I've been here so long it's become normal to me. Sathiel said the outside world would kill Nathan, and she was working on a cure. But as far as I know, she and her husband were trying to cure the Nahatan flu. He died years ago, when Nathan was just a baby, from the disease they were trying to cure. Sathiel must be sheltering Nathan for fear of losing him, too. She's doing it out of love. That I can understand. But that doesn't make it right. We'll take the portal pad to the cellar. Then the key will get us into the labs. From there, it's just making our way through the caverns to the isolation tower. As long as we don't cross Sathiel, the others will be too busy to stop us. Good question. I've never known her to be particularly combative, but if Nathan's wards were any indication, she does wield very powerful magic. Which she may use to escort us out. Nathan's well-being is a family affair, and the researchers are far more focused on their work. They're tasked with observing their subjects for the slightest changes, so they won't keep their eyes on us for long, anyway. Test subjects for her experiments. Animals, as far as I know. Some of the experiments are rather grisly. I kept away from the lab for that exact reason. I've heard some of these Telvanni use slaves for such things, but Sathiel's not like that. No, and that's exactly what worries me. She's tested no cures on him because there's nothing to cure. He's not sick. She just wants control. Poor Nathan. I don't think I've ever seen it this empty down here. Where is everyone? Wait. What are these subjects doing out of containment? There. Are those research notes? Look around. Maybe there's something here that explains what happened. What's that? It looks like a letter. What did you find? Anything that explains what's happened? Let me see. No, I'd never write such a thing. Did Sathiel write this? Does she really think this sounds like me? What did the research notes say? Spores? The researchers spoke of those. Little seeds on the air, invisible to the eye like flu or fever. I think that's how molds and mushrooms make more of themselves. Delman spore sample. Delman? Delman? What is that? It sounds like a name. It sounds familiar. I just can't place where I've heard it before. She mentions these toxic spores interfering with wards. Does that mean Nathan's wards? If these spores reach the isolation tower, he could be in danger. Tunche? Thank the 8 you're all right.
Daesha, stranger, you shouldn't be here. Too dangerous. Go no further. Spores nearly killed me. Barely, barely exposed. Natural immunity. I will live. Heard shouting, then screaming. Everyone came running. Big mistake. Subject spores. Too strong. Wanted to escape. Mistress Dreloth. She coaxed him back to isolation. Delman, too strong. Stronger than I've ever seen. Delman, Mistress Dreloth's greatest experiment. The cure, the affliction. Delman did this. Trouble breathing. Barely survived. The other researchers, not so lucky. Too late for them. Go no further. You could be killed.
I'm glad Tunche is all right. But he's just given us more questions than answers. I know he's one of her most trusted assistants, but if this Delman is one of Sathiel's experiments, how does Tunche not blame her for what happened here? I know, but... fetch it all! I just wish I could remember where I've heard it before. Delman. Delman. No, that's just the trouble. If Nathan had said or written it, I'd probably remember it exactly. Delman. Delman... It's on the tip of my tongue. Where did Tunche say Sathiel took the subject again? That must mean the isolation tower. Where Nathan is. Let's keep going. I don't know what we're going to do, but Sathiel needs to be stopped. Wait. Do you feel that? It's like we're being watched.
I've tolerated this incursion long enough. Whoever you are, you've fallen for Dacia's fanciful tale. And now you're enabling her dangerous obsession with my son. Nathan made his feelings for Dacia perfectly clear in the letter he wrote. Or was that vital piece of information kept from you? So what if I did? They'd both do well to believe it. They can never be together, do you hear me? Never! Leave this place! Forget all that you've seen, or you'll end up worse than Tunche. Delman? Where did you hear this name, Delman? Wait, I remember you from old Isra. You stopped Shelreni. You saved us all. But you cannot help here. You will find only monsters ahead. Leave while you still can.
Delman was her husband. That's right. I must have heard it from her once. Long ago, when she first brought me on. He died from the Nahatan flu. The thing she's trying to cure. I've never seen her like this before. I don't know. Has she gone mad? Was she always this way? If so, she's been hiding it, and I can't blame her. If she were carted off to Gorn, she'd be parted from Nathan. The thought of it probably only made things worse for her. If you mean to heed Sathiel's words and leave, then I'll have to go on alone. Nathan is my whole world. I'm not leaving without him.
If you won't listen to me, perhaps my guardian will compel you to turn back. You cannot fight the danger that lies ahead. This is your last chance.
Got to hang on.
Dacia, turn back, or you may never leave this tower again.
Dacia, stay back! I tried to escape, but she was right. My mother was right about everything.
Nathan, what are you talking about? We're here to rescue you.
Stay back from the ward. Mother says it's already in a weakened state due to the strength of my affliction. I don't recognize you, stranger. What are you doing with Dacia? Rescue? Then she really does love me? There was this note, you see. I was certain it was fake, but then I saw you and, well, I started to wonder. But I cannot leave. If you came through the caverns, you must have seen what I'm capable of. My father, yes. The affliction my mother gave me. She named it after him. I didn't know until I tried escaping. The wards were never for my protection. They kept others safe from me. If I had left with Dacia when we planned, she'd be dead. A living cure. A symbiote that protects its host with toxic spores. I would not be alive without it, and it would not thrive without me. All these years, she really has been trying to cure me so I might live a normal life. Why did I ever doubt her?
So now you know the truth. I'd kept this secret from Nathan his whole life. That he might not grow up knowing he was a monster of my own making. That he might keep his will to live while I sought a cure. After all, I gave him the Nahatan flu and cured him of that too. Delmin and I were trying to save the world. A promising fungal spore sample was on its way from Black Marsh when Delmin caught the very thing we were trying to cure. And I lost him. I had to know if the spores would have saved him. And now I know. Nathan came from me. I am enough of him that the fungal symbiote does not register me as a separate entity, and therefore not a threat to its host. That is when I named it. Delman Mycota. The cure, like love, that would be with us always. The truth is a poor cure for love. I did not want Dacia to share my fate of being shackled to Tel Dreloth by her own heartstrings. So I tried to drive her away. But since hers is a love that clearly cannot be cured, I have devised a choice for her. If Dacia is willing, I can safely inoculate her with the same spores I used on Nathan. She will share his affliction and his confinement. But they will be together, and she will want for nothing, except perhaps her freedom. Then she can make herself useful and help me find a cure. I'll hire her on again. I need someone dependable to procure rare ingredients to keep testing possible cures for Delman Mycota. Perhaps someday she can be one of my researchers. My researchers signed on with me because of my area of study. They knew the dangers of Delman Mycota as well as its potential. All that space in the labs was necessary for safe experimentation. I regret their loss, but they knew the risks. Or, if I had time to think of a more believable lie to tell the both of them. I knew they had been meeting for quite some time. When I overheard their plans to run away together, I had to act quickly, or else risk Dacia's certain death. Of course I did. I was glad for it at first. Dacia brought Nathan happiness. If only they could have remained content being in love, with the wards up between them. It was only when they doubted me that things got dangerous. And now, here we are. I've been studying Delman Mycota for over 20 years. If anyone can find a cure, it's me. I'm not about to abandon my life's most important work. There has to be something that can eradicate the fungus once it's disposed of the Nahatan flu. What does it matter if she and Nathan are able to live out their days together? I'd only prioritize curing her. But I am a researcher. I am not above recognizing the benefit of additional subjects with which to compare results. I suppose my research notes wouldn't give you the whole picture, would they? Tunche, one of my most devoted researchers, discovered it in a pool of brackish water deep within Black Marsh. Its capture and transport was quite the undertaking. When bonded inside the lungs of its host, Delman Mycota passively produces spores toxic to almost all non-fungal life, as you saw in the caverns. It seems to eradicate anything that might threaten the life of its host, including the Nahatan flu. It is sensitive to smoke, a herald of fire, which causes it to release reproducing spores in anticipation of finding a new host. These are the spores we would use to inoculate Daesha, if that is what she chooses. Correct. Somehow, Delman Mycota recognizes itself, and of course doesn't see itself as a threat. Argonians like Tunche are a different case, but only barely. Their natural resistance to toxins very nearly meets its match with Delman Mycota.
Nathan and I could finally be together. But the way to do so means becoming his mother's experiment. But I'd be safe, provided for. I'd get to dance and sing every day with the one I love. Some would kill for such a gentle life. Leaving for good is no option for me. My heart is Nathan's and his is mine. If I don't give up my freedom, I can help Sethiel find a cure. I'd get to see the world like I always wanted, but I'd be in her service. And I'd be alone. Life offers no guarantee of love either. But I found that, didn't I? I don't see it as giving up my freedom. I see it as a choice of how I get to show my love. But my heart is split. If you were in my place, which would you choose?
I don't want to be alone again. I want nothing more than for Daesha to stay with me. If we can't walk the world together, at least we'd never have to be apart. But I love her. Deeply, truly, I do, which is why I know I cannot ask her to stay.
Don't look at me like that. I tried to get her to leave, didn't I? At best, it would come to this. At worst, she'd have ended up like the rest of the researchers. The choices that love demands of us are never easy.
After I lost everything in Cyrodiil, Tel Dreloth became my home. I can't possibly leave it behind me. But does that mean I should stay here forever? Leaving for good is no option for me. My heart is Nathan's. Life offers no guarantee of love either. But I found that, didn't I? I don't see it as giving up my freedom. I see it as a choice of how I get to show my love. But my heart is split. If my freedom is the price of being with Nathan, then I'll pay it. To be with my love is better than having to wander the world alone. Thank you for keeping me safe, and helping me see the best choice, stranger. Here's your reward.
You're staying? Truly? Are you sure, Daesha?
I fought this hard just to get to you, Nathan. Of course I'm staying.
I can't believe she's chosen to stay. How did I end up so lucky to have someone like her find me? By the three, she's going to be here. In here. With me. I've never had that before. What do I do? I need to tidy up. Look presentable. Make sure she's going to be comfortable. So much to do.
Daedra has chosen to make her home at Teldreloth. She brings Nathan a comfort I could never hope to give him. I will make sure to show her how thankful I am for that. I'll say goodbye to Nathan. His affliction doesn't affect me because of our shared blood, but I don't have the same connection with Daedra. Her spores would kill me. I'll inoculate Daedra, and return to my work. I'll have to, won't I? And Toonshay will help me, as he's always done. I pay well, and the world is in no shortage of those who lost loved ones to the Nahatan flu. I don't anticipate any trouble in finding more help.
Finally a place to call home again. Thank you for helping me see the right decision. I think I'll take one more walk around the grounds before I join Nathan. It'll be my last moment alone for quite some time, and I want to spare some thoughts for my family. I think they'd be happy I found my true love.